It hit me hardest the morning Marcus Vale leaned over Ethan Harper's desk with that trademark smirk. Coffee breath mixing with a faint ozone from the server racks humming behind us at Apex Secure's downtown Seattle offices. Come on,
Man.
this isn't Langley. You don't have to log every single packet like it's the end of the Republic. Marcus was the new CTO. All startup swagger transplanted into a firm that held million-dollar federal contracts for secure cloud infrastructure. He wore hoodies to board meetings, quoted velocity metrics like scripture, and believed confidence could paper over any gap in the audit trail. Ethan didn't look up right away. His fingers kept moving across the keyboard with surgical calm, entering another time-stamped note into the Q2 compliance ledger. The man was a ghost in the machine mid-30s. Clean-shaven, always in pressed button-downs that somehow never wrinkled. Attractive in that understated way. Strong cheekbones, thoughtful hazel eyes that missed nothing. A quiet charisma that drew people in once they realized how deeply he cared about doing things right. But he rarely spoke unless it mattered. Unauthorized access vector flagged at 9:14, Ethan said finally. Voice even. Chain verified. Protocol requires escalation notation. Marcus laughed it off, clapping Ethan on the shoulder like they were old frat brothers. Paranoia with a paycheck. Brother. We're streamlining. Less friction. More momentum. I watched from my cubicle across the aisle, pretending to review endpoint reports. As Alex Rivera, I'd been at Apex Secure 3 years. Long enough to see the shift when new leadership arrived pushing lean ops and agile compliance. The company lived in a glass and steel tower overlooking Elliott Bay. The kind of place where rain streaked the windows like tears during our endless Pacific Northwest winters. Federal contracts meant strict CMMC standards, chain of custody for every log, dual-key encryption on sensitive partitions. Ethan had built much of the original architecture years back, earning quiet respect from the old guard. But Marcus? He saw it as dead weight. Over the next weeks, the tension thickened slowly, like fog rolling in off the sound. Marcus started removing redundant friction points, code for bypassing quarterly attestations when they slowed his PowerPoint slides for venture partners. I'd catch Ethan in the break room, staring at his phone with that focused expression, sending polite but ironclad emails to legal, request written acknowledgement of override on control flag X 447. Audit integrity at risk. Marcus brushed it aside in team huddles. Ethan's thorough.
Sure.
But we're not building bunkers here. Velocity wins contracts. There was humor in it at first. Office jokes about Ethan's love affair with timestamps, Slack threads roasting his meticulous habits. But underneath, it gnawed at people like me who remembered past breaches. One late night, Ethan confided over bad vending machine coffee. If compliance feels inconvenient, it's probably the only real kind. His eyes carried a weight, maybe from his own past. A divorce finalized quietly last year. Custody shared with his ex in Bellevue. He never brought drama to work, but you sense the personal stakes in his precision. The new directives came down from on high, streamline back-end ops. Cut overhead. Optics over caution. Marcus led the charge, gesturing broadly in all hands. We've modernized. Less noise. More delivery. Investors loved it, glacier-eyed VCs nodding along. Ethan pushed back, submitting formal requests for on-record confirmation of skipped attestations. Marcus refused, citing liability concerns. HR pulled Ethan in for an alignment chat. I saw him emerge with a sealed envelope, face unreadable. He nodded to me in the hall, but his screen stayed open just long enough for me to glimpse custodial variants unresolved. Encryption key transfer pending. We all sensed the storm building, but dismissed it. Ethan was brilliant, sure, but rigid. Marcus was the future, charming,
Fast.
At happy hours I skipped. Marcus bought rounds, bonding over crypto bets and Taylor Swift takes while Ethan clocked overtime alone. The social fabric favored shortcuts. Yet Ethan's quiet focus lingered in my mind, that expressive face tightening imperceptibly when overrides were waved through. The company felt alive with unspoken conflict, human ambition clashing against unbreakable rules. Psychology of risk versus reward playing out in fluorescent-lit cubicles. As weeks turned tense, Marcus escalated in a VC briefing, streamlined our posture. Previous lead was obsessively detailed, we shifted agile. Ethan sat arms folded, black folio like armor, jaw shifting just once. No outburst, just that charismatic restraint. Afterward, silence. An hour later, whispers. Ethan's been let go. Not fired, let go. Like releasing pressure from a valve. That evening by the freight elevator, Ethan carried little folio, envelope, USB on braided cord. His eyes held focus, not rage, a man who'd scripted the endgame. I felt a chill. Marcus celebrated with pizza, toasting one team. But Ethan's terminal remained frozen, logs untouched. A misforwarded legal email surfaced, custodial termination unverified. No reply. The fuse was lit, though none of us knew it yet. The slow build of ignored warnings, the human cost of dismissing the careful man, set the stage for everything to unravel. The next morning, Ethan walked in like nothing happened, no boxes. No scene. Pressed gray shirt. That same quiet calm. He clocked in, laid out a checklist. Company USB token. Black envelope marked legal compliance custody. HR scrambled, thinking offboarding glitch. Marcus was out schmoozing finance and a consultant. We watched from monitors. Frozen. Ethan worked deliberately, cleared cache, verified endpoint logs. Then one email to legal, compliance inbox, and an external regulatory Dropbox tied to our federal header. Subject: custodial termination. Unverified path. Body: 3 precise lines on pending chain integrity. No flare. He left the printed checklist with time-stamped initials and a sticky note. If compliance isn't inconvenient, it's probably fake.
Yeesh.
He vanished without trace. But the system remembered. We partied. Called the quarter clean. Logs handled. Yet keys unchanged. Backups mirrored the lock. 3 weeks later, Marcus strutted post $42M funding announcement. Name bold in press. Photo: smug grin at whiteboard. Ethan's absence erased from the story. Then the federal compliance officer arrived unannounced. Badge. Laptop. Neutral tone. Requested Q2 logs for scheduled cybersecurity posture review. Marcus waved it off. Pull them. We're good. But IT returned pale. Folder encrypted. Keys missing. Standard credentials failed. Vault showed dual encryption, one retired. Other absent. Audit trail ended at Ethan's inactivation. Panic set in quietly. Throat-tight tension. Legal huddling. Someone unearthed Ethan's red flag. Incomplete custody transfer dated post-layoff. Lane Ethan, still listed as custodian. They opened his final email. Jenna, General Counsel. Read it stone-faced. Then mouthed, "Oh no," to Marcus. The line, "Unverified attestation voids report authenticity." Sent externally. Logged with regulators. Documentation trail. Every override Marcus pushed. Every ignored request. Timestamps. Attachments. Surgical facts. Officer noted. Preliminary breach review needed. Chain non-verifiable. Marcus exploded. His word over ours? Officer. His documentation. CEO stormed in, demanding fixes. Archives locked. Personal token air-gapped. No reassignment. Marcus sweated,
Brute forcing futilely.
Ethan's name surfaced on Federal Consultation Registry as external consultant. He had prepared, warned,
Documented.
backed up outside system. Leverage built from disrespect. The room chilled. Marcus's charm cracked, human flaws, ego. Haste, exposed against Ethan's methodical integrity. Negotiations loomed. Conditions would come. But first the full weight hit. Firing the Guardian left the vault sealed. Threatening contracts. Careers. The company's soul. The Mao Thuan Con Nuoi, ambition versus duty, boiled toward explosion. Silence vibrated after the officer's words. Legal spun statements. Compliance rechecked binders like haunted by ghosts. IT failed decryption again. Junior analyst revealed. Personal credential vault. Not internal. You never reassign the chain. CEO barked at Marcus. Fix it. But no key existed without Ethan. Jenna showed CEO the registry edition. He's advising regulators now. Temperature dropped. Marcus sank. Jaw slack. Call him, CEO ordered. No one moved. What words to the man mocked as paranoid? 2 days of marinating silence. Ethan replied not to us. But the officer forwarded formally. 4 bullet points. Consulting rate $450 per hour. Full indemnity. Public narrative correction on departure. Marcus must resign before credentials restored. Marcus laughed bitterly. Extortion. Jenna, leverage. CEO confronted Marcus. You lied. Documentation proved overrides. Dismissed flags. Radioactive archive now with regulators involved. Board met privately. Next morning, Slack announced Marcus stepping down effective immediately. Half-hour later, Ethan's title updated. External compliance consultant. Federal liaison. The call. Federal officer. Jenna.
CO.
Ethan's calm home office face amid file boxes. No gloat. He entered decryption key. Walked through failed steps precisely. Logs bloomed open, pristine. Officer nodded respectfully. Ethan's protocols exceeded CMMC by layers. He verified methodically. No rubbing noses. Professional to core. Logs passed, controls rigorous. Jenna credited Ethan as original architect. Subtle reaction. Eyes loosening. Systems updated. Ethan's presence lingered remotely. Logs cleaner. Interfaces disciplined. Juniors read his checklists. Asking why such rigidity. Because someday you'll need it. 3 months later. Audit felt ceremonial. Regulator reviewed scars with respect. Logs pristine. Chain rebuilt redundantly. Plaque appeared. Matte steel. Chain of custody begins with paranoia. Ethan Harper. 2018 to 2025. She nodded at it, realizing the underestimated man saved the foundation. We speak of him reverently now. Systems run on his rules. Onboarding includes his processes. No skips. No overrides without trail. Ethan never sought revenge or hero status. He wanted correctness. When ignored, he documented. Locked. Waited. Not liability, the ledger. The moral lingers, in cutting corners for speed. We risk everything. The quiet, precise one holds the keys. What if we'd listened sooner? Would Marcus still lead? Or did hubris demand the fall?